Hi friends, I'm Walker and welcome back to Olive Ab Nails, where we talk about vegan and cruelty-free nail polish. Today I'm very excited to do some color comparisons of the first collection from Olive Ab Polish, which is my baby, my brand, my new brand this year. If you've already seen my live swatch and review, awesome, then this video will just be some color comparisons. If you have not seen my live swatch and review yet, I highly suggest you go check it out. I'll link it up here and in the description box down below. I think it can be really hard to figure out what a color is going to look like just from the website, and it's really helpful for me to see it compared to other colors so that I can get a sense of how light it is, how dark it is, how blue it is, whatever I want to know. So that's the goal of this video, is just to help you figure out exactly how these polishes could fit into your collection. But if you want to see the full live swatch and review, I'll link it up above. Alright, without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, first up we are going to look at Aster. We're just going to do these alphabetically. This one is kind of the minty, turquoisey, Tiffany blue, and I don't really have anything exactly like it, but I will show you some others just to give you, some reference points. This one here is Zoya Lillian. It's a little bit deeper and darker. It's not quite perfect. It doesn't quite have the kind of green undertone that Aster does, but it is a little bit of that minty color, a little bit. It's not perfect. And then this one here is Eleni. This is from their most recent summer collection, from the Barefoot collection, and it again is a little bit more of that kind of bright, almost like cotton candy blue. It doesn't quite have the green that Aster has, but I'm going to show you these three swatched next to each other so you can see them. Alright, so like I said, I think I don't really have anything exactly like Aster. I have heard that it's similar to a couple Essies out there, so if you have those, feel free to grab some comparisons of them, but this one is pretty unique in my collection. Alright, next up is Calla Lily. This is the only shimmer in the collection. This one is a spring green with that super bright yellow gold shimmer. And I don't really have anything like this, but I have two that I'll show you that I think will just kind of help situate it. This one is Zoya's Lacy, and this one is got that shimmer in it. It's kind of a brighter shimmer, but the base color is this very dusty green color, so it's obviously pretty different. I will show you them on the nails, but they're pretty different. And then again, another one, this is Tracy. It's a little bit of a brighter green, but pretty different. It's more like a lime almost. It makes Calla Lily look almost kind of blue and muted out. The last one I want to pull in here very quickly is Fern. Fern has that strong gold shimmer, but it's much more of a kind of dusty green than Calla Lily. Calla Lily has that really bright base. So I'm going to show you these three swatched on the nail, but like I said, this one is pretty different. Alright, so if you didn't believe me now that you've seen them swatched, you definitely know that Calla Lily is pretty different. I really like this one. I'm wearing it usually in 2 coats, but some people are wearing it in 3 coats. I think it really depends. I've also seen it topped over a couple, one coat of it over a couple of the other polishes, and that looks gorgeous. Especially I saw it topped over Aster recently on Instagram, and it looked super gorgeous, so I'm excited to try that sometime soon. Next up alphabetically is Cornflower, and I am calling this one a periwinkle. I think some people think it's not quite periwinkle, which is totally fair. I'm going to compare it first to Kale Polish St. Clair. It was kind of one of the first ones that was requested, and I would say I think Kale Polish St. Clair has a little bit more white in it, just a hair. They're very, very close. And then I also have a couple that are more like the purpley blue. So this is Cirque Colors Highline. This one's obviously a lot more purple than it is, periwinkle or like Cornflower is. And similarly, this is Kale Polish Dream Boy. definitely different. It's a lot lighter, a lot more kind of like pastel. A very recent polish, this is Zoya's Emerson. This one just came out in their spring collection. It's obviously a lot whiter. Again, it's almost like looking gray here compared to Cornflower, just because it is pretty different. And then finally, I wanted to show you Yummy, just to show you kind of how much purple actually is in Cornflower. I think Yummy is pretty different, even though Yummy is a super white-based blue. It's kind of my favorite summer blue. I'm gonna say Cornflower is my new favorite spring blue. So I'm gonna swatch Cornflower next to a couple of these, and then we'll come back. Alright, so I definitely think these two are super close. You cannot get St. Clair anymore, and it is a little bit more white than Cornflower, so if this is a color that you love, feel free to grab both. But if you already have St. Clair, you may not need Cornflower, honestly, but I'm pretty excited to be able to offer an option that is similar to St. Clair, but is still available. So that's Cornflower. Okay, this one is Hyacinth. Hyacinth is really hard to capture. I think that these comparisons will help you kind of situate where it falls on that like pinky, orangey, corally spectrum. I want to show you a couple that are not going to be close, but again will help situate it. So this is Zoya's Wendy. It's a much more pink coral, and then I also have Zoya's Maya, which is much more of an orange coral. So Hyacinth is both kind of right in the middle of them in terms of how orange and pink it is, and it's a lot more pastel, right? It's a lot lighter in color, almost like a creamsicle, but you'll see in a second, not quite like a creamsicle. Okay, so here is Zoya's Coal and Orly's Everything's Peachy, and now it looks super pink and coral next to these two. So it's not quite like a creamsicle, it's definitely somewhere in the middle. It's a really, I think, unique shade, and I honestly don't have anything else like it, but I'm gonna show you two more. This one is Zoya's Tulip, and this is probably the closest in color, but I would say Tulip is a little bit more of a, maybe like a salmon-y color. They're not quite identical, and Tulip has that shimmer in it that, you know, you'll see on the nail. It definitely looks a little bit more shimmery. So these are probably the closest in color, but like I said, they're not perfect. And then I also have Orly's Positive Correlation, which is much more kind of vibrant and intense. So I'm gonna swatch it next to the Positive Correlation, Tulip, and Everything's Peachy, because I think these four will just kind of give you a range of what Hyacinth looks like on the nails. Alright friends, so like I said, Hyacinth is pretty unique. This one does take me 2 coats if I'm just wearing it myself, 3 coats if I'm swatching it. I think it's taken a couple other people 3 coats. It has almost like a crelly finish. It's a little bit more of that like juicy, kind of glossy crelliness, but if you refuse to do 3 coats, you may not want to grab this one. But other than that, it is a pretty unique color in my collection. Alright, next up we're going to look at Lemon Blossom. This one is the super delicate yellow. I've been saying this one is kind of the perfect right between yellow and white polish. I'm going to compare it to Zoya's Jacqueline, and I think they look pretty similar in the bottle. Jacqueline, I think, is going to be a little bit more of like a almost like a nude polish, whereas Lemon Blossom definitely pulls yellow on the nail. It doesn't pull like cream on the nail. And then I do have Zoya's Bee. I had a lot of people say that Lemon Blossom looked like Zoya's Bee when I first shared it, but I think Bee is a light yellow, but it actually has a lot of this like very kind of bright, I don't know, almost like orangey lean to it, right? It's not quite as white based as Lemon Blossom, so I think they're pretty different. And then the other one that I have is Cirque Colors Vanderbilt, and this one is way darker, but I think some people were reminded of it because of how kind of not orangey this one is. You know, it's very different in terms of its tone than Bee is, for example. So I think some folks thought this one was a little bit reminiscent, so I'm gonna swatch all 4 of these. All right, definitely Lemon Blossom is closest to Jacqueline, but I had to do 4 coats of Jacqueline to get it to look that way, so it's not my favorite polish. And I do think Lemon Blossom looks a bit more yellow on the nails than Jacqueline does. Jacqueline comes out a bit more almost like a nude polish. So I think, you know, it's up to you if they're close enough for you, but I definitely think Lemon Blossom is more yellow for me, and I find these two pretty different. All right, friends, last up we have Rhododendron. This one is the kind of pinky purple mix from the collection. The one that people have asked about the most is Zoya's Perry. So here's Perry right next to it. I do think that Rhododendron is a little bit more purple and Perry is a little bit more pink, but these are probably the closest out of any polishes that we're gonna look at today. So, you know, I'll leave that up to you ultimately, but that's my personal take. And then I have Zoya's Tina, which is a warm purple, but again, is a little bit more purple, so it looks, you know, pretty different compared to Rhododendron. And Lois, which is another kind of pinky purple, but way deeper and much more purple. This one has a lot more pink in it. So I'm gonna swatch all 4 of these on the nails. Alright, these two are definitely the closest out of any that we're going to look at. This is Zoya's Perry and next to All About Polished Rhododendron. So I think it's totally up to you. Obviously, I really like them both and I do, you know, see a difference. I think that Perry is a bit more pink, Rhododendron's a bit more purple, but I'm going to leave that up to you, obviously. Don't grab it if you're not excited about these kind of pinky purple shades. Alright, and before we go, I just wanted to show you very quickly the 2 trios that are on our website. This one is the May Flowers trio. It has the 3 kind of, you know, warmer, more classic shades. You can grab all 3 of these for $27. And then we also have a second trio. And this one is the April Showers trio. So this is Calla, Lily, Cornflower, and Aster. And so you can grab this one bundled up on the website if you want to. If you're not interested in grabbing, you know, all 6 shades, you could just grab one of these trios. Awesome. As always, I would love to hear from you. Let me know which of these you think is your favorite, which one is the most unique in your collection, and if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing so that we can sit down and hang out and chat about nail polish again sometime. Awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.